Welcome back to Dis-Cember. I'm Scotty. You're not. It is Franchise Friday time, and our franchise this year is Lilo and Stitch. So we're starting with the last movie, Leroy and Stitch. So anyway, without telling you about any other movies, what happens is... No, I'm just kidding. We're starting with Lilo and Stitch, the first one. You saw the title of the video. You clicked on it. You obviously know what this is. Unless, late for fools. I mean, just late. Every fool's but late. But yes, this is a long time coming. This is something I've wanted to do every single Dis-Cember. And specifically last year, or the year before, 1 or 2 years, it was the year before. On a whole bunch of movies to kind of try to catch up. It resulted in those 90s movies, I think 2022. I did Jungle to Jungle and Rocketeer and Dick Tracy and all those. Then I did the live action stuff, and then I did it last year too. More stuff. So, I'm doing a little more animated ones this year. And I figured this could be the franchise I do. I wanted to include Chronicles of Narnia. That's going to have to wait. But, yeah, I finally wanted to do this franchise because this is the franchise I grew up with, as confusing as it is. So you had Lilo and Stitch come out 2002. It's now 22 years old. Yikes. That's a yikes. Yeah. The story here is that Experiment 626 has escaped the Galactic Federation, or whatever the hell they're called, and fallen to Earth on Hawaii. Yes, and found by a little girl named Lilo. Actually, she buys them for $2. What dog costs $2? Well, I guess it was to take them away, I guess, wasn't it? Well, the Intergalactic Federation sends the creator of 626, Jumbo Jukiba, and a specialist, Pleakley, to retrieve him. Whatever. Things don't go as planned. And yes, as you imagine, hijinks ensue. So we start in space, where Jumbo Jukiba is on trial for creating Experiment 626. Now, I'm calling us out right now. The Galactic Federation are idiots. He's like, I would never. And then they showed up, create more than one. It's Experiment 626, which means there were 625 more experiments. Which, of course, us hardcore fans, know. But you'd think if something's labeled 626, you would ask, does that mean there are 625 more? Or did you just give him that name? Or that Jumbo would say anything, but yeah. But yeah, he eventually escapes and flies a police cruiser to Earth, where they say, he's going to crash into the water, so he's going to be, he's going to drown, and he won't be able to survive, it's like whatever. But that's found to be bullshit, because he's in the water later. Literally, the cover is him surfing, right? Well, not this one, but the original DVD and VH cover was. I have the double collection, which actually has 3 movies in it because I put my copy of Stitch the movie in there. So, yeah. So he lands on Earth and ends up in an animal shelter where he's bought by Lilo. This is a complicated story. So Lilo is a strange little girl. She's the weird girl, but it's more like they think it's weird and you don't think it's weird. Like, I could be the weird kid sitting there talking to myself, But I don't think it's weird that I talk to myself. Isn't that what this is right now? I'm basically talking to myself because there's no one else here, right? Once upon a time, though, you'd be locked up for standing there talking to yourself, where now it's a little more acceptable. But she's the weird girl who has this weird green doll, where she makes up a story that aliens laid eggs in her head or something. The doll. Myrtle is a little bitch. I'm sorry, but between this, sequels, the TV show, yeah, they got a whole franchise. She's a little bitch and it's not deserved. Alright? Albeit, they don't do much to sort of, when it comes to story development, character development for Lilo and her friends. It's just, Stitch does a bunch of weird things. She doesn't really get friends. It's like, I don't know. Also, hey, this Disney movie has parenting issues, has child endangerment issues. Yeah, see, Nani, I almost called her Nani. Nani, her sister, not her mom, it's her older sister, because it's one of those things. You know, it's the Disney movie. Parents are dead. Come on. I mean, what movie? Snow White, Cinderella, Bambi. Snow White, Cinderella, Bambi. I'm blanking now. Frozen. Tarzan. Goofy movie. Presumably, The Rescuers Down Under, The Rescuers, A Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and it is proven that at least one of Aladdin's parents are dead. And also Jasmine's mom is dead. The Lion King. What Disney movie didn't have dead parents at this point? At least one or both, maybe even. You know? That's the thing, right? Even one of the latest Disney movies I reviewed, Mary Poppins Returns, had a dead parent. The mom had passed. So, yes. And if you count the parents from the original, they're dead too. I think. They're never mentioned. Well, they're mentioned, but they're never like, oh, they're retired in Florida or something. I don't know. I don't know what the British equivalent to Florida is, but yes, so there's child endangerment laws, child protective services coming, Special Agent Cobra Bubbles at your service. Because that is his name. And this is where I'm going to talk about the cast before I continue. Because this cast, there's DeVay Chase as Lilo, Tia Carrere as Nani, Jason Lee Scott as David, the late great Michael Clark Duncan as Cobra Bubbles. Kevin Michael Richardson is gone too. The late great David Ogden Stiers, who himself should be considered a Disney legend, as Jumbo Jokiba. Kevin McDonald, or Pastor Dave from that 70s show, as Pleakley. The director of the film himself, Chris Sanders as Stitch. Yeah, all-star cast. Just great. And I want to talk about one character, the unsung hero of this movie, and an underappreciated, or underdemiciated, if you're talking about the bedtime stories, unappreciated character who needs all the love in the world. Ice cream guy. And I don't mean the guy who gives out ice cream. No. This poor guy who just wants to relax and enjoy his ice cream cone, but every time he tries, it falls off the ice cream into the sand or the dirt or the floor. Let the man have his ice creams, okay? This poor man, the unsung hero of this movie, doesn't even have any lines. He's just ice cream, and then something happens, it falls off. Let the man have his damn ice cream. Please, people. This should be like the SNL sketch with Chris Farley. For God's sake, Let the man have some ice cream. Please let me have some ice cream. Please. But, yeah. Yeah. So, Cobra Bubbles says that he's going to be watching over this to make sure. So, first of all, I want to talk about the first interaction that Lilo has. Because after the big opening, she comes around, she's feeding peanut butter sandwich to a fish. The fish that controls the weather, apparently. And she has this big thing about how she's talking to her teacher, the hula instructor. Because that's... I don't know, I'm not from Hawaii, I don't know. But, I only know 2 words Hawaiian. Aloha, which means hello, and mahalo, which means how are you. So... Aloha, mahalo. At least I think that's what mahalo means. But, so she starts complaining about how she talked to Nani about they didn't have any peanut butter. She had to go buy peanut butter, and Nani suggested tuna fish. Do you know? Suggested tuna. You know what tuna is? Eats fish. It's fish. You can't feed tuna to a fish. I forgot what she says, but that would technically be cannibalism on the fish's part. I don't know. I know it's not the same as feeding a hot dog to a dog, doesn't that? No. On the side of tuna, I got a little story. So, long times ago, my mom had to watch my brother's cat for him because they didn't have room for him at his house. So, that cat was magic. It was a pain in the ass, just like my brother. But he was magic. Like, what I mean is, he could be nowhere in sight. So you open a can of tuna, man, where the hell? Whereas the other cat, Adam, he would slowly saunter in, like, oh, hello, do you have something for me? No, it's just like, hello. You were not even in here. How the hell did you do that? As soon as you had the can of tuna. Yeah. She's like the dog. Knows when you go in the kitchen and you're in there for a while, oh, they're getting food. He's going to come in, lay down and see what you're getting. Or stand there and kind of look at what you're doing, you know. But, anyway, you can't feed the tuna to a fish. That's not right. But can you feed peanut butter to a fish? That's, I don't know. They eat fishy flakes that oddly smell like fish. So I don't know. And if you ask me, everyone hypothesizes that the secret Krabby Patty formula in SpongeBob is fish. Because do you see any cows in the sea? I'm just saying. Yeah, so Bubbles is threatening to take her away unless things change. Yeah. So like I said, Jumba and Pleakley are sent to retrieve Stitch. So I didn't realize that Gantu, who, by the way, will be like the central antagonist for most of, like, the show. He's central antagonist for the show. And then there's I think Stitch the movie as well, because that sets up the show. We'll talk about the sequels when I'm done. But, just briefly touch on them. I will be in full talking about them, of course, over the Saturdays, or over the Fridays. Excuse me. But, so, yeah, and it's basically slapstick, where they try to capture Stitch and it doesn't work. Time after time. Not Cyndi Lauper. So, like, Lilo just thinks that Stitch is a dog, but everybody else rightfully goes, that's a dog? Like, what? What the hell is that? You know? But I like Stitch. It's one of my favorite Disney characters. That bird zipper. Meaning la crystal, which apparently is the naughty words. I do like, because that's at the beginning, he says that, and even Jumba's like, I did not teach him that. yeah, and when they fail, that's when she sends Gantu down to get him, to get Stitch. And that's really with like the last half hour of the movie. And I'm just like, really? He's not really the primary antagonist. Not really. It's not really an antagonist or villain, I should say. He's not the primary villain. It's not really a primary villain. He shows he's around. And again, he's working for the Galactic Federation. So it's not like there's actually villains in this. Jumbo could be considered a villain. But again, like I said before, he's more of an antagonist. You know, because he ends up becoming good, in a way. So, yeah. The soundtrack. Let's talk about the soundtrack. A lot of Elvis songs. All Elvis songs, except for two. Burn in Love at the end of the movie, and I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by the 18s. And that's my generation there, the 18s. 90s and 2000s. That's when the late 90s when I got into music. I mean, I was into the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC in 97 and 98, respectively. But yeah, that's still late 90s, I guess. And the 2000s, you know. I had all the boy band stuff. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 5, 18's not really boy bands, but you know what I mean. BB Mac, Youngstown was a thing for a while. Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Smash Mouth, which are technically a boy band. Sugar Ray, you know. Y'all remember S Club 7? Not a boy band, but I was into the pop music scene of the late 90s and early 2000s. That was my music. Alright? That was my music era time. And then the 2000s came, mid 2000s. You know, I was into some of that. But, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this in a review yet. Maybe I have. I think I did. Never mind. There's the NSYNC story in the car. I think I mentioned that. I think maybe. I don't know. My sister was taking me home from my mom's last week or a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago now. And we were in the car and they played Bye 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 by NSYNC on KROC, which was the station 106.9 that you listened to growing up in one of the current pop hits. And there's still that. But it's playing a song from 1998 or 99 on the radio in 2024. 25 years later. I'm just saying. Yeah. I like how Pleakley's trying to... Okay, so... Is Pleakley gay? Nowadays people say, oh yeah, definitely. Because every time he's in disguise dressed as a woman, people will say, no, that means he's trans. And to that I say, no, although he could be now. I don't know. I'm not one to me jump as you dress like a woman, so you must be trans. Sometimes you just want to dress like a woman and still be known as a man. I don't know. Some people are like that, right? Right? Like, I'm just like a woman, but I'm a he. Roddy Piper wore a dress for years. I know it was a killed back off. But, I don't know. He primarily dresses as a female when he's on Earth. And that's probably because Jumbo dresses as the male. So they try to fit in. I don't think they're trying to say anything with that. Nowadays, they would. And, oh, I'm hoping they don't with the live action remake. Because, I could just see that going the wrong way. I'd like to know who's playing Jumbo, by the way. David Oxenstars passed away years ago. And I don't think there's anyone that could replace him. I'm just saying. John Goodman. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if he could even do that accent, but even if it's just John Goodman going, you know, Pleakley, we gotta get experiment 626. I don't know. John Goodman's getting up there though too. I don't know. But I do know that Chris Sanders is coming back to do the voice of Stitch, which is good. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, the finale of this is like chaos because like Stitch tells Lilo who he is, where he's from, and she's like, "Oh, you're one of them." before anything can happen, like, they're captured by Gantu. But Stitch gets away and goes to tell Nani. But before anything can happen again, Jumba and Pleakley show up to capture Stitch. And, like, this leads to Nani begging and pleading. And even Stitch says, no, we're going to go. We need to go help them. Which leads to another one of my favorite things, where Jumba's like, you mean, after all this time chasing you, you want... How do you do it? No, we have chased you, and you want us to help you after all this time? After all this time? Okay. Yeah, just like... So yeah, they go and they rescue Lilo. But Lilo was about to be put by Cobra Bubbles Child Services. He disappears and then shows up at the end just to say, oh, he's taking Lilo, but then they change their mind. So does the lady from the Galactic Federation. By the way, this is a dick move for someone who presumably does not have one. She shows up, and Pleakley's like, shows up, they capture Stitch, and they're going to put him away, and Pleakley rightfully says that the capture of Stitch should go to them, but she's like, to me. And I'm like, what did you do? You just showed up and put the clamps on him. That sounded wrong. You just showed up and put the cuffs on him. Not much better, but we'll go with it. You did not do all the chasing around. You did not do any of the thing. You know, they were working hand in hand, which means they technically did, and they did capture him. But no. Let me get the Ohana thing mentioned earlier. Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind. Well, that was earlier, actually. Here he goes, they are my family. It's little and broken, but good. Yeah, still good. And so he's allowed to stay there, and Pleakley and Jumbo also stay there for some reason. They're not allowed to get on her ship. So, yeah. And, so yeah, we get a montage. I do like David's response. So you're from space. I hear the surfing is choice. Because that's all that's on his mind is surfing. You know Jim Hawkins. Movie came out the same year. Movie came out the same year as Treasure Planet. But this one did better. Treasure Planet is better. I'm just saying. I would watch Treasure Planet 10 times more than I would pop this in. I love this movie, don't get me wrong, but I love Treasure Planet. I'm just saying. And the soundtrack, like I said, there's the Elvis song, but there's also the Hawaiian roller coaster ride, the song that plays at the beginning on Hawaiian music. I remember seeing things on Disney Channel where they would talk about that, like a choir of Hawaiian kids doing the stuff with the singer. Yeah, it was pretty cool. The Movie Surfers stuff that they went through, because Movie Surfers was a big thing. Like, it started with the Parent Trap remake, and then they just would casually do little episodes here and there. Then it just changed to little interstitials, and they didn't have their own episodes anymore, because Disney Channel just didn't want to do that anymore. But, you know. But I would say, all in all, the Lilo and Stitch is pretty good. Yes, and like I said, it did spawn sequels. Stitch the movie, which would be a pilot movie for the Lilo and Stitch TV series, and then later be followed by Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, and then Leroy and Stitch, which would be the end of the TV series and the finale of the TV show, if you don't count the anime, Stitch! What, has an exclamation point at the end. And there was also Stitch and AI. I don't know what that is. Don't want to know what that is. So yes, come back. We'll come back tomorrow for the sequel Saturday and the sequel Sunday, which will not be covering one of the Lilo and Stitch sequels. No, we'll be covering a sequel to a movie that came out in 1992, 10 years before this one. It's my personal favorite animated Disney film. The sequel to my personal favorite animated Disney film is The Return of Jafar, and after that, Aladdin and King of Thieves. Yes. And 1 week from now that you are watching this, when it is on the channel, we'll be covering the next chapter in the Lilo and Stitch saga, Stitch the Movie. I know that technically Lilo and Stitch 2 takes place before, but I'm doing it in release order, so... Oh. Not gonna. I'm doing it in release order. So Stitch the Movie would be next. Then Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch, and then Leroy and Stitch. So, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Lilo and Stitch? Comment so much, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott, and I'll see you in the next one.